beautiful. So the question is, what do you choose? Anybody choose love?
Every time.
Every time. I would like to say I choose love every time. I have to admit that I probably don't.
Probably not.
Every time, but I come back to it.
Come back around.
I come back around. I come back around. I do. So, there's a story, and it's one of my favorite stories. It's the story of a little boy who is, oh, by the way, how do you like my fork in the road? I thought it was.
Clever.
Clever, I know. I came across it. It wasn't what I was looking for, but I was waiting for a reaction. So, if you don't get it, you just have to ask, right? So there's a little boy who was on a beach. And this particular beach was covered with starfish. Hundreds and thousands of starfish for as far as he could see. And there was an older gentleman walking along the beach, back behind the starfish, and he saw this little boy in the distance, and he couldn't figure out what he was doing, because the little boy was doing this. And the older man walked up to him, and he said, "What in the world do you think you're doing?" He says, "I'm saving starfish." He says, "You can't possibly save all the starfish on this beach." He looked at him and he said, "Maybe so, but I made a difference to that one. I made a difference to that one." Sometimes when we look at our world, we go, "We can't possibly change what needs to be changed." I mean, I'm usually very positive. I'm thinking, yes, we can do it. And I'm like, I don't know if we can do it, but we can make a difference to that one. We can make a difference every single time that we choose love, that we choose joy, that we choose a moment of kindness. That little boy made a difference to a bunch of starfish that day, and he probably didn't save them all. So what are we doing in our lives? The only thing that is constant and consistent is change. And when we face change, sometimes that big change goes, whoa, I don't want that, right? I saw this week. There's a cartoon of a minister in a packed house saying, "Who wants change?" And everybody says, me, 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 me. And then he says, "All righty then, who wants to change?" Not a single hand. But change comes no matter what we do with it. So we're talking today about the forks in the road. And the forks in the road and those changes are actually choices that are not always conscious choices. Because a fork in the road can be the small little moment-to-moment choices that we make. Most of us get up in the morning and we have a morning routine. Most of us, at least those I know, don't really like the morning routine change too much. I know in my morning routine, at my bathroom sink and doing what I do with my teeth and my face and, my contacts. And if I do it out of order, I'm all screwed up. Right? It's like I can't, if I try to change and go out of order, it messes me up in a really big way. But that's only because so much of what I do is unconscious. And if we begin to be more conscious through every moment of our lives, then we can begin to navigate, again, more consciously, but we can navigate more aware. And when we navigate more aware with our perspective raised up out of our tunnel vision of our habit, that which we just do automatically, when we go out of automatic into conscious choice every single time, we can see a new possibility. We can look back. They say hindsight is 20/20. We can look back and go, oh, well, that choice there, and that choice there, and that action there, and that event there, and that all led me onto where I am today. You know, whether it's good or it's bad or it's ugly, it's not good or bad or ugly. Whatever it is just what it is. And whatever it is just what it is until we decide how we're going to be in it. So we don't have a lot of control necessarily over what happens in our lives. And that's a whole other topic for another day. So we're just going to leave it at that. Because we could go into you have full control over everything. But we're going to just stay right here. But you do have control every single moment of how you respond. Now, you don't think you do because you're in your unconscious, you're in your blind side, you're in that 95% of our conscious awareness that is completely unconscious, and of that 95% of the unconscious, 70% of that is not being very nice and kind to ourselves. It's the 70% of ourselves that keep us caught in the belief systems or the unworthiness or the not good enough or it's wrong or the judgments or all of the stuff. But once we become conscious, and we stay conscious, and that is the work, when we stay conscious, then we have choice. And sometimes the choice is simply to stay conscious, because we go unconscious, we go to sleep. We just live our lives so asleep. And so wake up. And what if you could just wake up, like set your timer on your watch for every hour? And go, what am I thinking? What am I aware of? What am I unaware of? What's going on? Oh, what would it take to be conscious? And once you're conscious, then you have choice. And once you have choice, when you know you have choice, you navigate the forks in the road. One of the forks in the road stories that I really love is Robert Frost's The Road Less Taken. And I didn't print it out. I'm not going to read it. I kind of was sitting here during your song thinking, oh, I wish I had it, but I didn't print it and I don't have it memorized. But it's basically when you stand at a fork and you look over here or you look over here, where do you go? Which path? Because once you take a direction, you won't be able to get back to that path, but that's not a bad thing. But do you go down the well-worn path? Do you go the same routine every day? Do you drive the same way to work every day? Do you go to the same grocery store? Do you walk the aisles in the same direction? Now, these are minor little things, but the point is, the more that we do automatically, the less conscious choice we have. So every time we choose something different, every time we choose to stand in a greater awareness, every time we go into that same grocery store, but we do the aisles backwards, we open ourselves to a new possibility. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about every time we step into the unknown, we open ourselves, we get out of the unconscious into the field of infinite possibilities. Like, we don't know what's going to happen in our lives. We don't know anything. We don't know what's coming for us around the corner, or in any way, shape, or form. The good or the bad, or the ugly, or the hard, or the celebratory. We don't have any idea what's going to happen in our lives today, much less tomorrow or the next day. But the more you stay conscious in your choice, the more you stay awake, the more power you have to consciously create the life you love. I do a lot of work with a lot of clients, and one of the things that we are always spending our time in is, what would you really love? And what would you love? And I had this one client, and she messaged me, I guess it was Friday night, kind of late in the evening, like, you know, beyond office hours, so to speak, right? And she messaged me, she was, I can't believe what just happened. Well, she's done that before, and it's been like, okay, crisis mode, like, let's go jump in and handle this, right? Like, let's really give this woman the support. And this time it was like, oh, tell me more. She's like, I can't type it, can we talk? And I'm like, well, you know where you go, right? You go, oh no. And so we jump on a quick call, and I'm like, oh wow. I mean, she had this miracle that came completely out of the blue for her, that opened up amazing opportunities. She was so thrilled. She was so excited. She was, I couldn't wait until our session to tell you. I'm like, I'm so glad you called. But then I was able to say, do you see why this could happen? Because of all the work you've done to become conscious, for all the work that you've done to dismantle the belief that only bad things happen to me and I can never get what I want. And you said, whatever this thing was, which I'm not going to share, she said, well, it's not like that would ever happen. That's like fairy tales. And then it happened in this amazing, beautiful way. Now, would that have happened had she not been conscious? Well, maybe, but would she have been able to receive it? Likely not. Right? She wouldn't even seen it, much less been open to receive it. So the more that we wake up, the more that we come into the awareness that we are one with all that is, and all that is good and love and beauty every single time, the more that we see the good, the more that we be the good, the more we have control. That's a bad word. It's a C word, control. There's some really bad C words. Control, commitment, change, chaos. But the more we have control over how we navigate. And so we have some forks in the road. I have a fork in the road. Most of you are aware of my fork in the road. Yogi Berra says this, right? You know Yogi Berra? And he played for baseball. He played baseball. I know he played baseball. I forgot. Anyway, Yogi Berra says if there's a fork, if you come to a fork in the road, take it. That's sort of how I lived my life. And back in 1994, I was in a life situation that was hard. I was a single mom. I had 2 little kids. They were little back then, like 7 and 4 or something like that. Probably something like that. And I had followed my heart. Another dangerous thing to do, but I highly encourage it. But I followed my heart. I had this divine idea, and I met this guy, and I was like, oh wow, this is it. And I was in Phoenix on purpose, and he was in California on purpose, and I moved to Colorado because of this guy. I know that doesn't make any sense. That's okay, you'll catch up. And then to California, and then to Vermont in January. I was in Phoenix on purpose. By March, that whole relationship fell apart. 4 years in, completely crumbled, completely dismantled, and I hit my knees on the ground and I was praying. I'm like, okay, God, I obviously cannot run my life. I already was in religious science. I was already in unity. I knew the power of visualization. I knew science of mind prayer treatment. I knew affirmations and denials, but I didn't know how to run my own life because I got a divine idea and then I made it mean what I wanted it to mean. Instead of checking in. Last week we talked, those of you who were here, we did listening, deep listening. What are you listening to? And when that whole thing fell apart, and it fell fast, it crumbled fast. And I made a covenant with Spirit, 1994. And I said, I obviously don't have a clue. I might have used a little bit different words, but you get the idea. I don't have a clue. You show me what to do. And I turned my life over in a way that has served me ever since. And what I heard was, if you follow, I will lead. It's kind of backwards. But if you follow, I will lead. And from that moment, how long ago was 94? Like 30, 25 years, 30 years? I don't know. Anyway, however long, every single thing in my life has been about following that guidance. Very quickly, I got out of Vermont. I never even found out if I had a sidewalk in front of my house. There was so much snow. I think that's my biggest disappointment. We got back to Arizona, got called to ministry. I followed that path, and that path continues to lead me. So when a door opens, I go through it. Now, when a door opens, do I go through it 100% automatically with complete trust and no arguing? No, not always. Sometimes I still argue, but I also listen. And when this came up, when Alan and I met a year ago and this came up, I said, there's a door. There's a door, and I walked through it. And in March, we came to a 6-month agreement, and I said, yes, I'll come. Spiritual leader here for 6 months. Yeah, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. There's so much potential here. And a few weeks ago, another door for me opened, and my 6 months is complete. But another door opened, and it came completely out of the blue. Those are the ones you pay attention to the most, right? Completely out of the blue. I get an email completely out of the blue from this woman that I haven't talked to in, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. And she said, Unity of Tucson's ministers are retiring after 53 years. Do you know somebody who could come as a temporary? And what came out of my mouth is, I can. And so I'll be going there next week, actually, and serving for 4 months, at least 4 months. Somebody asked me this morning, but we don't want you to leave. I'm like, well, our home is here. We live in Hot Springs. We're snowbirds, so we don't know if we have snow here. That's based on my experience in Vermont, where I didn't know if there was never not snow, right? So now we don't ever find out. People say, is it cold there in the winter? We go, we don't know. We don't have any intention of finding out. We're there in the summers. So that's coming for me. That's a fork in the road that changes everything. And yet when you look at the events and the moments and the choices over the last 6 months, everything leads to that. But then the fork in the road for you all, for the center, is also a fork in the road. But what if? What if this fork in the road is the exact thing that can take us to where we want to be? What if this fork in the road is the exact opportunity for those of you who are committed to this center to step up in leadership? What if this is the fork in the road that allows us to do some things? We had a great community conversation last Sunday after service, and there's some ideas about other things we can do to really create a sustainable center so that we can do what we want to do. And so there's some movement happening. There's some leadership already stepping up. There's some possibilities that are quite exciting. And I got home and I told Rob, it's like, well, dang, now it's all coming together and I'm leaving. He said, well, maybe it's because you're leaving. I said, I know, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to take that on. But I was driving in this morning. I've got so mixed emotions. I'm like, I'm kind of funky this morning. What's going on? It's like, well, what do you feel? I coach myself sometimes. What are you feeling? I'm like, well, okay, let's see. The sensation of my body is this. What's underneath that? The thought is that. The emotion is this. I'm like, wow. I have some grief. I have some real grief. It surprises me, actually, quite frankly. I'm sad. I have disappointment. I have a little bit of regret. I have excitement. I'm really looking forward to the next opportunity. So I've got all these positive emotions all mixed up with these around here. It's like when I'm just getting to know some of these beautiful people and and so it's like it's this whole mixed bag. So what do you do when you have a mixed bag, right? Because some of you might. Some of you might be really sad. Some of you might be quite happy. There are probably not so many of you sitting here in the room, but some people around here might be like, oh, finally, thank goodness, or whatever. But it doesn't matter. But what do you do when you're faced with a fork in the road? What do you do when you stand at a crossroads and go, I could go here, I could go here? I'm going to give you a couple things to do. There's five tips for being a vital force for good. Now this is assuming you want to be a vital force for good. Because if you don't want to be a vital force for good, you can just be a victim to your life, and that's okay too. It's just going to be a little bit harder for you. So if you want to be a vital force for good, here's the 5 tips. The first one is shine the light. Shine your light. Shine the light of God. Shine the light of the Creator. Shine the light of Source. Every day in every situation, even if it's hard. And do it in the little moments so that you can do it in the big moments. Do it in the grocery store. Do it at school. Do it in your classes. Do it with your kids. Well, those are big. Kids are big. But do it with the people that it's easy to do it with. Like, just do it. Like, how do you do it? Okay, here's how we walk around. Practical example, because I like to give you these, right? This is how we walk through life. It's like, wait. There's 5 steps. If I want to be a vital force force for good. What's the first one? Oh, be the light. Oh yeah, where is my light? Oh yeah, I have a light. And activate it in the core of your being and let it come out your eyes. It's like, oh, there I am. And once you're there, then you can see you. Oh, there you are. Oh, there you are. Oh, there you are. Oh, there you are. And then your actions, the little tiny ones, are much more impactful. The kind word to the clerk. The kind wave to the guy that cut you off in traffic. Oh, that doesn't happen so much here, but you know what I mean, right? The kindness, the point of kindness. The second one is stabilize your inner peace. Stabilize your inner peace with stillness and equanimity and reflect the beauty of all around you, So find that place of peace. I have my books. My books have been downstairs for 6 months or more, but I have my books, and I'm going to, might leave a couple, but I've got my books in the foyer today. The first one is Falling into Ease. Release your struggle, create a life you love. Like, take a breath. Second one is Paradox of Awakening. The subtitle for that is Finding Peace in a World of Chaos. That's what I was on. Many of you know I was on a book tour, and part of Colorado was also a part of that book tour, which is Finding Peace in Chaos. Find that inner peace, because it's about inner peace first. It's about finding it within you. It's about landing in it. And then you can stand in any moment of chaos. It's not about waiting for the outer to be right. Because guess what? In this world today, the outer is probably never going to be right for more than about 5 minutes. Right? Okay, number 3 is to stand confidently in love. The unshakable and immovable. I choose love. No matter what. No matter what, I choose love. No matter what, I choose love. No matter what, I choose love. When I was on my what I call my spiritual initiation journey in 2010, 11, somewhere in that 18 months in my car. Some of you know that story. I was 18 months in my car following Spirit, doing a really deep cleanse of my spiritual awareness. And in that process, I was asked by Spirit to surrender everything and anything that was unlike love, which means attachment, roles, labels, emotions, beliefs, all of it. And so that surrender anything and everything that's unlike love. When I stand in love no matter what, I can't be in judgment. I can still be angry and be in love, but I can't be in judgment. I can't be in resistance. I can't be in resentment. I can't be in guilt and shame and blame and all those things when I'm truly in love. It doesn't mean you don't have to navigate some of what life gives you, because you will. But if you do it in love, if you find that love, like that peace, and you find that deep in the core of your being, and that becomes your work, right? For all of these. Number 4 is trust in the flow of the universal intelligence streaming from the unified field of consciousness. Do you trust in God or not? You can trust in God or you can worry. You can't do both. Do you trust that there's a big picture, that we're all pieces of the kaleidoscope coming together to create this ever-moving, ever-changing, ever-shifting beauty of the world? Do you trust that? And if you do, can you get into the flow? How do you get into the flow? You drop resistance. You choose again and again and again. Say, I'm going to go where the energy flows. You ever heard that? I'm going to go where the energy flows. If there's a block, I'm going to turn until I find where the energy goes. That flow will take you to places you've never imagined. And that's a good thing. And the 5th one, be a calming presence. In the darkest hours just before the dawn, but be in a calming presence. If people around you are in a panic, we've had some panic in our family this week. We had a couple of diagnoses this week, and it's like, cool, I might have mentioned them last week, but they're still brand new. So it's easy to be in the panic of a diagnosis. Ah! But what if you become the calming presence? What if you find love, find peace, find flow, and trust that the best is yet to come, that the best is yet to be, that the best is on its way to you, individually and collectively. I want to share the story of a young woman who got a diagnosis. This is not a family member, nor do I hold this for my family member, but this young woman got a diagnosis, a terminal diagnosis, and she was given just a few months to live. So she was making arrangements, she was working with her minister, and she was picking out the songs and the hymns and the poems and all the stuff for her service. She picked out her gown, she picked out everything so that her services were well prepared for. And she was talking to her minister. It turned out to be not long before she actually died. But as she was walking out the door, making all these arrangements and all of this, and as she walked out the door, she said, "Oh, and by the way, I want to be buried with a fork in my right hand." He said, "Okay." She goes, "Sounds like you're a little curious." He goes, "Well, yes." He goes, "I've been, in this field for a long, long time. I've never had that request. Tell me more." And she said, "Well, my grandmother told me the story when I was a little girl. And every time you're at a banquet or you're at a fancy restaurant, well, not a super fancy restaurant because it doesn't work, but every time you're somewhere where there's a meal and they're getting ready to clear your plates, they say, 'Keep your food.'" See, that's why the fancy restaurant doesn't work, because they have like 19 forks, right? Keep your fork, because the best is yet to be. She goes, "I know that the best is yet for me. Sure, I'd rather live longer, I'd rather be on this planet longer, I'd rather get healthy, but I know that in my passing, in this fork in the road that I'm about to take, that the best is yet to be, and I want everybody who views my casket to see me with that fork in my hand, knowing that I know the best is yet to be, so that you also can know the best is yet to be." We've done some amazing work here this last 6 months, and I am just so excited about what is possible for all of you. I'll be back. I live here, but I'll be gone for a while, and I know that you're in good hands. You've got a pretty solid board, and we need some board members. You've got good, solid leadership, and we're always looking for more leadership, so talk to me, talk to Alan, and most of all, know this. I've been so blessed to be a part of you. I've been blessed in ways that are surprising and very unsurprising. I've been blessed to be a part of this center. I've been blessed to know you and to help navigate the waters that we've walked through. And I hold you in my heart with so much love, knowing that the fork in our rivers will meet again. And the fork that you stand in is only leading to your next best, highest good. So much love.